There are instances in the field of astronomy where the understandings you thought were absolute regarding the universe are subtly rewritten. Not through grand announcements, not through polished live streams from NASA, nor via a sudden global alert, but through a few images made public unexpectedly, without any fanfare, from a spacecraft circling a solitary red planet. This precisely just occurred. While the world waited with bated breath for NASA's delayed high-resolution images, held up by a 43-day government shutdown, China made an unexpected move. The Tian-1 orbiter, a mission not intended for deep space observation, directed its medium-resolution camera at a faint green dot drifting well beyond Mars's orbit. When the images came back, they did more than simply align with what NASA, ESA, and independent scientists had been speculating for months. They validated it. They affirmed the peculiarities, confirmed the behaviors, and acknowledged the one anxiety that scientists had hesitated to express. The oddities linked to 3 Atlas are not mere artifacts. They are genuine, universal, and now confirmed independently from another planet. The object's green luminescence, its unusual jets, its baffling stability, its sunward plume, its rhythmic emissions, everything that astronomers in the West found challenging to explain, was clearly captured from 30 million kilometers away by the Mars-orbiting spacecraft. Whatever 3I Atlas may be, whatever forces are propelling it, whatever narrative it carries from another star system, China has now presented the evidence for humanity to scrutinize. Tonight, we will dissect it methodically, image by image, until the mystery becomes undeniable. When China Daily published the images from Tianwen-1 and they circulated through Xinhua, the scientific community came to a standstill. The object was unmistakably present, a green-blue elongated nucleus glowing like an emerald shard floating in the void, surrounded by a narrow reflective ring and a slight ion tail gently arching toward the sun. This detail sent ripples through planetary science, as standard physics dictates that a comet's ion tail should always point away from the sun, propelled by solar wind and radiation pressure. Yet captured from orbit around Mars was a plume that disregarded this expectation, curving sunward in a manner that seemed untenable unless an active force was affecting the emissions. Furthermore, the images exhibited a luminous halo of fine dust fluorescence surrounding the core, akin to layers of escaping light peeling from the object's surface. Chinese analysts estimated the jets to be nearly 100-kilometer long, significantly larger than what would be anticipated for such a size. The jets displayed radiating patterns that appeared symmetrical and rhythmic, almost reminiscent of a controlled pulsing motion. However, the detail that astonished everyone was this: the nucleus presented no signs of fragmentation whatsoever. Despite months of violent outgassing observed from Earth, the body remained intact, solid, and unscathed. China confirmed astronomers' worst fears. The object is actively functioning, not merely transitioning through evaporation processes. For months, scientists in the West had recorded a series of anomalies indicating that 3 Atlas operated far outside the bounds of conventional cometary physics, exhibiting brightness surges away from the sun, acceleration inconsistent with gravity alone, jets aimed toward the sun itself, and faint pulses reminiscent of a cosmic heartbeat. Critics had claimed miscalibrated telescopes, overstated image processing, and exaggerated interpretations. However, with the corroboration from the Tianwen-1 dataset affirming the green hue, stability, plume behavior, and long-range jets, the debate collapsed swiftly. China's observational perspective, different planet, distinct vantage point, another spacecraft, varied atmosphere, varied sensor configurations, yielded images that matched the anomalies almost flawlessly. This left a singular conclusion: the behavior of 3 Atlas isn't local, nor is it instrumental or coincidental. It is intrinsic to the object itself. It brightens when it shouldn't. It expels materials aggressively at distances that shouldn't activate standard cometary physics. It pulses like a rotating system with internal mechanisms, and it accelerates without the debris clouds expected with non-gravitational thrust. Now, with Mars's orbit confirming all these findings, the implications grow enormous. Tianwen-1's medium-resolution camera, while not specifically designed for deep space comet analysis, adeptly captured something hinted at from Earth: jet symmetry. The images revealed faint, rhythmic, multi-directional jets that resembled miniature thrusters firing in coordinated intervals. Some jets emanated away from the sun as anticipated, while others pointed in its direction. This alone contradicts conventional comet models that assert sunlight heats subsurface ice. Water vapor cannot be the source of sunward jets without violating basic thermodynamic principles. Yet tick by tick, pulse by pulse, the jets followed a cycle of approximately 6 hours, indicative of rotation or regulated venting. These observations resonate with Earth-based telescopes that noticed heartbeat-like pulses over the preceding months, now supported by Mars's observations. The patterns emerged as not chaotic or random, but structured. And this is the term that unsettles scientists: structured jets, structured pulses, structured outgassing. These are not signatures of passive evaporation, but indications of a system at work. The subsequent question is clear, although few are willing to articulate it aloud. The spectroscopic readings gathered by Tianwen-1 introduced further unease. Hidden among the faint emissions were peaks indicative of nickel and magnesium, metals commonly found in comets but rarely in such pronounced concentrations. The nickel-dominant signature aligned with earlier findings from Earth-based spectrographs, but the clarity of China's data from Mars rendered it unambiguous. These metals are not just present, they actively contribute to the emission spectrum. The predominance of nickel raises questions about unusual formation conditions or the potential for cosmic ray-altered crusts developed over billions of years in interstellar space. Yet, when combined with symmetrical jets and sunward plumes, some scientists posited that the object might harbor cavities or chambers that expel materials in non-natural manners. Moreover, the thermal signature was inconsistent with solar heating at its distance, making the scenario even stranger. The surface temperature of 3E Atlas proved to be warmer than expectations dictated, suggesting either the generation of internal heat or an interaction response to electromagnetic forces unlike those typical of known comets. NASA's original concern wasn't that 3E Atlas posed a danger. Its orbit remained safe, its approach distance secured. Their worry lay in the realm of interpretation, that the anomalies were not merely artifacts, but that the object genuinely behaved in ways unaccounted for by recognized cometary physics, that the elusive high-resolution images delayed by governmental turbulence might reveal features previously detected by ESA and independent astronomers. If China's images mirrored that behavior, NASA would find itself compelled to confront the implications head-on. And indeed, that is precisely what occurred. The green luminescence, the unbroken nucleus, the rhythmic pulses, the directed plume, the acceleration devoid of fragmentation, all of these were confirmed by China, leaving the scientific community unable to mask behind calibration justifications or processing errors. 3I Atlas is behaving in a manner unseen before. For NASA, this indicates that when the high-resolution images are finally made available, they may showcase characteristics that have not yet been contextualized. The fear isn't of danger, it is of a paradigm upheaval. China's findings hasten the moment when such upheaval becomes inevitable. With the evidence now at hand, two competing hypotheses have surged into global discourse, the first being the natural hypothesis, which posits that 3I Atlas is an ancient interstellar object whose crust has been hardened and chemically transformed by eons of cosmic ray bombardment. Within this model, volatile pockets hidden deep within the crust might intermittently explode upon heating, creating what appears to be controlled bursts, but are, in reality, the result of chaotic chemical processes, nature's equivalent of a primitive engine. The second hypothesis supposes a technological relic, suggesting that the jets are not random emissions, but deliberate releases, possibly stabilizing vents or remnants of internal systems, perhaps relics of a probe predating our sun. Not extraterrestrials watching us, but an archaeological artifact navigating the galaxy, still exhibiting fundamental features long after its creators have vanished. Both hypotheses are consistent with the observed anomalies. Both are scientifically possible, yet only one will hold true. The Tianwen-1 images draw the object closer to the crucial boundary between natural and engineered phenomena. For the first time in human history, we possess observational data of an interstellar object captured from Earth, Mars, and heliocentric spacecraft. This triangulation offers an unprecedented opportunity for true three-dimensional validation. The green hue confirmed, the coherence of the nucleus affirmed, the intensity of the jets corroborated, the sunward plume validated, the object's stability despite significant emissions validated. These multiplanetary observations indicate that the anomalies are not merely real, they are universal, measurable from any observational perspective. The data on its own is remarkable, but what holds greater significance is what it represents: collaboration. China made no attempt to hide this data. They released it promptly. In a time when global politics fracture nearly everything else, science created a bridge spanning nations and planets. This bridge has now unveiled a mystery we are not prepared to elucidate. On December 19, 2025, 3I Atlas will approach Earth at a safe distance of 270 million kilometers, yet close enough for an observational campaign unlike any seen before. The Galileo project will monitor the object utilizing telescopes across 3 continents, meticulously gauging its acceleration, thermal output, rotation, and the periodicity of its jets with unparalleled precision. Should the pulses appear random, chaotic, and unstable, we can classify it as natural. If the pulses prove periodic, structured, and predictable, then a much more profound occurrence is taking place. China's images offered the first blow. December may deliver the second. Somewhere between these 2 milestones lies a truth we are quickly exhausting time to ignore. When one steps back to synthesize everything, the jets, the symmetry, the anomalous thermal readings, the metallic chemical signatures, the sunward plume, the impossible stability, the rhythmic pulses, the intact nucleus, the acceleration without debris, a pattern emerges, one that is now inescapable. Not due to speculation or fear, but because for the first time in human history, another planet has substantiated the anomaly. A spacecraft in orbit around Mars has captured images of an interstellar object that behaves in ways counter to the physics we rely on to comprehend the solar system. Interpretations, meanings, and origins can be contested, but the data itself can no longer be debated. China didn't merely release images, they issued validation. NASA was apprehensive about this moment, the moment an independent nation, using independent instruments from an independent viewpoint, would reveal the anomalies as not being processing errors, sensor noise, hype, or misinterpretation, but a true depiction of 3 Atlas, a nature that does not conform to our established norms, a nature that doesn't adhere to internal melting models, a nature that does not disintegrate under stress the way comets should, a nature that does not generate tails the way we anticipate dust should, a nature that does not pulse as outgassing should, a nature that does not accelerate in the usual manner of natural bodies. China has compelled the world to accept an uncomfortable truth. The object operates with a consistency and precision that ought not belong to a deteriorating ball of ice drifting between stars. That is why the scientific community is in a state of astonishment. Not due to the threat posed by 3 Atlas, it poses no hazard, its trajectory is benign, but because it presents differences beyond our classification capabilities. Differences that leave models trembling in their attempts to reconcile the data. Differences that transform astronomers into archaeologists, sifting through ancient cosmic patterns for any semblance of what they are presently observing. What if this object is older than Earth by billions of years? What if its crust encapsulates the memories of a long-gone star system? What if the jets signify the last gasps of an ancient relic striving to maintain stability after a journey through uncharted cosmic radiation fields? What if these pulses are not signals, but the ticking of internal chambers releasing pressure, an echoing ancient heartbeat reverberating through the void? Or what if, and this is a question few dare raise, 3 Atlas operates this way not due to decay, but due to functionality, functioning according to principles and mechanisms that elude our understanding, functioning within a framework crafted by forces older than our sun, functioning in a manner that renders our distinctions between natural and engineered seem naive. The truth remains clear. Comets should not survive what 3 Atlas has endured. Comets should not emit materials in the way this object does. Comets should not exhibit illumination as this object does. Comets should not accelerate in the manner this object accelerates, and despite everything, this one does. So here we find ourselves, months ahead of its closest approach, examining data from two planets that converge on the same resolution. Something about 3 Atlas operates outside the established boundaries of known comet behavior. There is an aspect of its structure that resists collapse. There is a facet of its chemistry that rewrites expectations. An element of its emissions raises inquiries that no one dares to face on camera. China did not simply validate the anomaly, they confirmed the fears accompanying it. For the first time, we are engaging with something that cannot be reconciled, not due to the failures of our instruments, but because our definitions are inadequate. If this breakdown has transformed your perception of this object, don't quietly withdraw. Subscribe, as the next data drop may necessitate a reevaluation of everything once more. Like this video so that more people can see the unfolding events beyond Mars. And in the comments, share your thoughts. Is 3 Atlas a natural relic predating our sun, or are we witnessing the actions of something far more intentional?